As men climb the socioeconomic ladder in different societies, the difference in age between them and their wives increases in every society. That's where you see the 50-year-old man with the 30-year-old woman, etc. When women increase their socioeconomic prowess, they always want men who make... And they can't lead. Like you're not telling me stories about men trying to lead. You're telling me stories about, and that's, this comes off to some people as being chauvinistic and misogynistic for me to say this. I truly believe that for a relationship, for most, I'm not saying there's definitely like maybe 14% of relationships don't need to be like this, but the majority, the middle 86% of relationships need to be where a man leads. It doesn't mean he bosses her around, but he needs to be the one, like again, there's someone downstairs, honey, without hesitation, I'm grabbing the shotgun and going downstairs because I'm a man. As chauvinistic as that comes off, that is what he needs to be doing. There needs to be an inherent feeling that I need to feel shame if I do not provide for my family, and I need to protect my family. And when we make decisions, at some point, I have to be the tiebreaker. That's what I'm talking about for a man being able to lead. And the most successful relationships that I've seen that last 75 years are the ones where a man leads. And you don't really put men in a position. Again, that part was my opinion. This part is not my opinion. You don't really put men in a position where they could do that even if they wanted to.
Even if they wanted to?
Even if they wanted to. They don't make enough money. Like there's like they can't.
It's not
leave.
even the money. It's not even the money thing.
I don't think money plays a part in it.
It's like I think what I was saying earlier applies. That it's not the money part. The money is the result.
Yes.
The result of everything else of who you are, which is all good stuff. That prevents a weaker man from being able to lead.
Do you initiate the breakup? And in the previous relationship, so you're the ones initiating the breakup, or
every time
you are?
Yeah,
you're the one. 80% of divorces are initiated by women. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, no, I've usually always been the one to cut it off, but it's because of the situation. Like I said, like why would they? You know, like I'm the one that keeps tolerating until I can't tolerate anymore.
But she's also the one in charge in 100% of her relationships.
That was exactly my next point. You make more money than them. You mentioned this on Inside OnlyFans, where you tend to be the one who's in charge because...
That doesn't matter though, because I feel like regardless of if I make more money than them, even if they were making any money on their own or had anything going for themselves, you know what I mean? Like even to a point where they don't need me, they just would like to be with me or want me, like I became like a necessity to them. It wasn't even like I questioned if there was even emotions involved half the time, because I was like, do they want to be with me or do they need to be with me?
For a man to not benefit from being close to you, even platonically, they would have to be, without a doubt, in the top 1% men.
Okay, so let's talk about this. The percentage, let's ask Brandy real quick. The percentage of men that you want a guy who's over 6 feet tall, right?
Yes.
You got percentage of men that are over 6 feet tall in the United States?
I don't know.
It's like 2% or something.
It's
right?
14%. 14% of men over 6 feet tall. You probably want a guy, if he would have to make more money than you, the percentage of men that make more than $100,000 a year, what do you think that is?
I don't know.
It's about 17% of men.
$100,000 a year?
$100,000 a year and 6 feet tall.
They need to make more than $100K a month.
Okay, so listen. So listen to this. $100K a year and 6 feet tall, that's 0.17 times 0.14, which is 0.23. So 2% of men, or 0.02, I can't remember.
And tattoos.
Yeah, for sure. So with tattoos, but like the number gets progressively worse and worse. Now, to be in the top 1%, like you said, it's about $614,000 a year, I think is the last I heard. If you make $600,000 a year, that puts you in the top 1% of wage earners.
And to do better than her, yeah, for sure. And to do better than her, just letting you know, $600K a year, we're not even coming close.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm sure.
So undoubtedly, you'd have to take a top, for sure, a real deal top 1% man. And the reason I say that, you gave me that look. I don't know if you realize this. I have the same problem with both men and women around me. I watch your life, right? Even for me, right? Now, I don't need you to be around me for you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to take from you, right? But even me, I do benefit. For example, when you have a boyfriend and he goes, I'm starting a business. And let's say the business really has potential to be successful. You're laying all that foundation for them. You go, hey, boyfriend, this is the paperwork. Here's some of my contacts. Call them. They're going to set you up like this and do this and do this. And then they get it all together and they come back to you. And even if they don't need you, you're still there supervising because you're a loving girlfriend. And you go, hey, by the way, if you do it like this, I learned the hard way in my history that this is not going to work. So if you do it like this, and all of a sudden you just create an entire business for them. For a man not to need a single contact of yours, dollar of yours, piece of knowledge of yours, piece of wisdom, experience, idea, support, house, car, anything, they have to be so far in that top 1%.
They basically have to be me or Mickey.
The two guys are great.
So anyway, he's completely right. So another thing that happens is as men, these are other surveys. I'm always interested to hear your reaction to some of these. As men climb the socioeconomic ladder in different societies, the difference in age between them and their wives increases in every society. So maybe like that's where you see the 50-year-old man with the 30-year-old woman, et cetera. When women increase their socioeconomic prowess, they always want men who make more than them. Like the average.
I don't want men who make more than me.
Right,
She likes them broken.
No, it's funny because Amanda Nicole said the same, and so did Tucci. Like they did the same shit. Exactly.
No, we're being sarcastic. I honestly gotten to a point where like I guess it's because of the last. Like I guess I finally got done dirty enough that like I really wouldn't tolerate a guy who didn't have a job or something going for himself anymore. Like I don't even care like what the job is. Like if you're not capable of even having a business or a career or doing anything for yourself, like then your intellect level is so low I can't even have a conversation with you.
It's interesting because you don't select for income, which a lot of women do. You can select extremely stringently for physical attractiveness. Like you previously could.
And I used to, and it's still very important to me because I have to be physically attracted to you. But I'm saying I've come to realize, especially with the last one, that if you don't have your own place, if you don't have your own car, if you don't have a job, if you don't have these things, you can be as physically attractive as you want, but intellectually you're missing something so much up here that like I can't even conversate with you, or like there's nothing there. There's nothing.
But you're saying you had to go through several of these very.
I had to learn the
It's
hard
still
way
current.
because no, it's not.
Yeah, right now, you would, if you started dating a guy that had those things, it would be the first guy you dated with those things. I know that's where you are right now.
Well, the guy
You
from
just got there.
the guy you mentioned, the guy from
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant it's still current. Like I'm still
No,
dating
no,
people like
no.
that. I was like, no.
Well, you mentioned the guy from Italy actually has an income. Like he actually has a thing going for him.
He has a lot going for him,
Yeah.
and he's very intellectual, and he's got, you know what I mean? Like he does reality TV, obviously, but I mean, like he has other money from other places that he's invested. He owns Airbnbs and real estate, and he's invested in a med spa, and he's got things going for him.
Sure.
And he did that all on his own, and he was capable of it. You know what I mean? Like nothing was handed to him. He had a rough upbringing similar to I did, and things like that. And I can't like think off the top of my head of something, but I've had several conversations with him where I knew that I was so used to less because we'd be having a conversation. I'd go to repeat myself, and he'd be like, "I get it," and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I don't have to repeat myself to this guy." Or like we'd say something else, and he would come out with just like I could have intellectual conversation with him. But I've done things like the last one that came back around or whatever recently. A few months back, he was the one we just bleeped out when he came back around.
Oh, the gay one.
So Sweden was gay? Is that what you're saying?
Cole was gay.
Okay.
Cole, bro, yes.
I don't know this dude, so I'm not going to sit there. I'm going to send this to you. You can bleep out whatever you want.
Homoerotic at its finest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Homosexual. Hobo.
It was a homosexual and a hobosexual.
A hobosexual is somebody who just like doesn't have a home.
Hobosexual is someone who dates for a place to live. He came back around and, he was trying to move in immediately to like all the same stuff. And I said, no. I said, if you want to live here, he's like, well, I want to be close to you. I said, then get a apartment close to me. I don't know what to tell you. You're not moving in. And then he's like, oh, well, I need this. I said, then figure it out. And like, I did that stuff to him. He folded immediately. So it just vetted him out right away. You know what I mean? Because I had always just wondered the first time around, because we didn't really end on bad terms the first time around. It was just me kind of like going through some shit, and I was like, I need to be alone. And when he came back around, because all the mental stuff I was going through, when he came back around, I thought that. I said, you know what? Like, let me see if he has to get his own place. And I don't do all this stuff for him and that I used to do. And yeah, within 2 months, he didn't make it.
Let me ask you, the first time when you were seeing him, would you have had a problem if he was hooking up with other girls on the side, or did you
Absolutely. I would never be with any guy who was
So
hooking
you
up
want
with other
traditional
girls.
monogamy? That's what I'm asking.
100%.
But you also got to think the position she's in, and I want to use this term loosely, right? But it's like ownership.
Yeah.
She made the investment to acquire that relationship. So that's almost like her property. So she can use or utilize her property any way she sees fit.
Is she a Muslim man with his four wives?
I
agree with you. I'm just like listening to the way you describe it.
Yeah, but I often feel that way in relationships too. Like if he brought to the table to any capacity equal to what she did, then they both have the equal right to negotiate, to compromise and things like that. But when she is 100% the carrier of both of them, then he is not his own entity.
I would not agree with that the opposite way either, though. I don't think even if I had a guy who made as much as me or more than me and brought more to the table than I did, I still would not accept him sleeping with other women.
No,
And
for
I
sure,
wouldn't-
for sure.
That's
Yeah,
And I
what
don't
that's what
think
I'm talking
that,
about, yeah.
I mean, and I would never, I don't want that type of relationship in general, though. Like, I don't have the urge to go hook up with other men either.
No,
You know
no,
what I
I
mean?
got it,
And
got
what's crazy is, like, when you were asking me about my ex-husband, like, being in the bar industry, my whole life, a bartender or bottle service girl, I was like, I could never date a guy in the bar industry because I see the door guys hooking up with every chick
Sure.
and the managers banging girls in the office. And I'm like, I could never date someone in this industry. I see it all the
Sure.
time.
Yeah.
My husband was the very first guy I ever dated in the bar industry. Most successful relationship I ever had because he was so numb to that. My problem is I used to date these small town guys from the middle of nowhere, all this stuff. I bring them around this and they're like, oh my God, I've never had this before. Let me indulge in it. But when you get the guys who've already indulged in it so much, they're just sick of it and ready to settle down. Like, that's where it's at. And I'm learning that now with my situation that I'm in now.
So going back to what you said before about you're sitting there and the guy, you break up with him the second time. The reason why I was asking about him seeing other people is because you had made a statement on Inside Only that like you were worried about somebody coming back into your life and like being all up your ass. And you were like, you said the words, go get a sugar mama, something like that. That's why I was curious about that. This is what you said on CJ's show. That's why I was wondering if you just didn't have a problem. Because I know some women are like that. They're just like, I could see a guy, and if he hooks up with other girls on the side, that doesn't affect our relationship. But you're not like that. That's what you're saying.
If a guy hooks up with other girls while we're talking, after we start dating, or even like, oh, hey, we break up for one day and then they go hook up with a girl and try to come back, like, get the out of here. No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. That's what I'm saying. I might not even be that way. It might have just been my choice in men.
That's what I really think it is.
Could your choice in men also have something to do with an abandonment issue? Meaning,
No, that's all my family.
I disagree. I think it could, because you take men that it's much harder for them to abandon you.
exactly my point. That you put men in a situation where they can't abandon you. Do you understand
Then
what I'm
that
saying?
wouldn't play into my abandonment issues. That made me feel more secure, if anything.
That's my point.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why you pick
exactly.
them. That's
Yeah.
why you're self-medicating.
Yeah, no, but we talked about that.
Yeah,
That's
you're
why I said
self-medicating with men.
Right,
the reason I picked the men I picked in the past was because, or you asked me, like you said I did something similar to someone else we know. I said something to you, and that's when you called me self-aware, was I said I think I need control because, you're like, you're dating men who have no money, who have no this, who have that. And I'm like, oh, well, then they can't leave me.
Then they can't leave
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Now that makes a lot more sense, because that is the core of what borderline is it's centered around abandonment. And
But
so
then I realize when I'm picking men like that, I'm picking men with very poor qualities and they have nothing to offer me, and then I'm unhappy. So it's like,